Okay. So let's again start. Let's discuss transformation by trigonometric formula. Sometimes kasi may lumalabas in your trigonometric functions. Dun sa last topic natin, merong lumalabas na, let's say this one, cosine. Sorry, balik tayo dun sa isa pala. Ito. May lumalabas na ganitong klaseng problem. Okay. Combination of cosine to the fourth, then sine to the fourth. Okay. Then meron pang katulad nito, sine 3x, sine 6x, then combination of sine and cosecant. Okay. Then may ganito pa. Okay. Cosine squared, then sine to the fourth x. So, minsan merong mga lumalabas na problem, may integrand na is a combination of cosine and sines, and then secant tangent, tsaka cosecant, tsaka cotangent. Okay? So, merong mga types of trigonometric functions in the integral that can be transformed into maybe variable separable or by means of parang showing the derivative of a certain function or by separating, let's say, cosine squared or cosine to the fourth by 2 cosine squared. Okay, you can simplify or by substitution you can solve the integrand. Okay. So, and that's is transformation by trigonometric function. Okay. Ito. So in general, for if your integrand is sine to the mx, then cosine to the nx dx, either m or n is positive odd integer. Okay, kahit alin man dyan yung isa ay positive odd integer. Okay. Ito yung step how to solve this problem. Okay. For example, ang lumabas is sine to the fifth x cosine squared x dx. Okay, ganyan lang lumabas. Okay. Or basta isa man sa either of the two, yung m or n is an positive odd integer. This is the general solution or this is the step. Okay. Ito muna, if m is positive odd integer, kung m ang positive odd integer mo, ang gagawin mo, you will separate, so yung m, yung sa sine, you will separate sine x from sine to the mx. Kung paghahatiin mo yung sine to the mx by sine to m minus 1x, then sine x. Kasi pag pinagsama mo to, it is the same as sine to the mx. So magtitira ka ng isa na sine x. Maminusan mo siya. Then later, you will convert use trigonometric identity that sine squared x is equal to 1 minus cosine squared x. Okay. Then the result will be power formula. Okay. Pagka naman yung, yung n pala. This one is n, typographical error. This one is n. If n is positive odd integer, so buburahin ko na lang to later. This is n. Is a positive odd integer, yun naman ang babawasan mo ng paghihiwalayin mo yung isang cosine x naman. So magiging sine to the mx, then yung cosine to the n, magiging cosine to the n minus 1x saka cosine x dx. Then you will apply substitution using trigonometric identity that cosine squared x is equal to 1 minus sine squared x. So basta kung alin yung odd integer doon sa dalawa, okay, yung isa, ilipat mo sa, i-separate mo yung isa, yung sine x or yung cosine x. Okay? So let's try to apply. Okay, let's try to solve a problem under case 1. This is case 1, ano? So let's say integral of sine to the fourth x cosine 3x dx. So alin dyan yung odd number? So ito. So ang gagawin mo dyan, ihiwalay mo yung isang cosine x. Then, ang matitira, cosine squared x. Cosine x dx. Okay. So, ito, as is lang yung sign. Kung alin man dito yung yung even number ang power, i-retain mo lang siya sa add. So, alisin mo yung, i-separate mo yung isa, yung cosine x. In this case, this one is cosine x. Then, convert cosine squared x by 1 minus sine squared x. So, substitute. Ito yan. Then, multiply, distribute this one, tsaka doon. Distribute mo doon. Magiging sine to the fourth x minus sine to the 6x. Quantity cosine x dx. Then, you will let u is equal to sine x, then the derivative is cosine x dx. So if you will substitute this one, this will become sine to the fourth x dx. Then ito, this will become the integral of u to the fourth, then minus u to the 6, then this one is du. So ayun ang lalabas. So this will become power formula. So the integral of u to the fourth is u to the fourth over 5 minus u to the 7 over 7, then plus c. Then substitute u is equal to sine x, and this one is your final answer. So ganun lang, piliin nyo lang kung alin dyan yung add in, yung power ay add, positive. Then separate mo lang yung isa. Then apply mo yung trigonometric identity, then babalik lang sa power, integral ng power formula. Okay, dali lang ano? So example B. So sine cube x cosine to the fourth x dx. Okay. So alin dito yung ito naman yung sine naman. So i-separate mo yung isang sine x. So kaya mangyayari is nagkulang dito ng x, sine squared x, sine squared x, then sine x cosine to the fourth x dx. Sorry, hindi ko pa na-edit kasi yung ano na to, yung topic ko dito sa ano na yan, yung hindi ko pa yung topic na yun, hindi ko pa na-edit. So kaya dire-diretso ko lang kinopya. So sorry. So sine squared x, sine x cosine to the fourth x. Then yung sine squared naman ililipat mo sa, or you will substitute cosine squared x by 1 sine squared x by 1 minus cosine squared x. Kasi sine squared x plus cosine squared x is equal to 1 using Pythagorean theorem. Then ito i-distribute mo doon, lalabas is cosine to the fourth x minus cosine to the fourth, cosine squared, cosine to the 6x, then matitira yung sine x dx. So you will let u is equal to cosine x, then du is equal to negative sine x dx. So this one is negative du. Then pag sinubstitute mo, this one, ito magiging u to the fourth minus u to the 6, then this one is negative du. Negative d yan. Hindi ko na nalagay dito. Obvious na. Kulang pa isa rito. Sin x na putol lang yan. Du is negative sin x dx. Napakadaming correction. Sorry. Negative sin x dx. Sorry. So, your sin x dx is negative du. Dagdagan ko na lang later. Bago ko i-send sa inyo, papalitan ko to ng dx. Okay. Then this will become negative. So integral ng u to the fourth is u to the fifth over 7. Kaya lang may negative doon. Kaya maging negative u to the fifth over 5. Negative, positive yon. This one is u to the 7 over 7, then plus c. Power formula. Then substitute. Eto na siya. Okay, that is the final answer. Okay. Any question? So, basta ganun lang, piliin nyo lang yung kung alin yung add integer. Sir, paano ko parehas na add? Pag parehas na add, there are two solutions. Okay. Yung una muna, pipiliin mo yung let's say sa sine. Then ang magiging sagot doon cosine. O kaya naman, mamaya piliin mo naman yung sa cosine, ang magiging sagot later sine. Okay. So, we will have a problem, I think. I think I have a problem na parehas silang add. Okay? So, kung parehas na add, it's either of the two. You can choose whether, kaya lang dalawa yung solution doon. Okay? Sir, parehas ba sagot nun? Parehas lang din yun because there is an arbitrary constant. Okay? So, you will just use substitute, identity. You will come up with the same final answer. Magkaiba lang sila ng constant of integration. Okay? Pero parehas ang sagot yun. Kasi mangyayari, pagka parehas ito, let's say cube, yung isa magiging cosine, tapos yung isa naman magiging sine in terms of sine naman ng answer. Okay? Then, case 2, where both M and N are chocolate. Hindi, M and N pala yan. M and M are positive even integers. So, positive even. Pareha silang positive. So, gagawin mo naman, instead of using yung trigonometric identity na sine squared x plus cosine squared x equals 1, you will convert cosine or sine, depende na sa kung alin ng positive odd integer. Instead of that, you will use double angle formula sa trigonometry. So, double angle, ito yon. Pag sine minus, pag cosine plus, 1 over 2. Yung sine 2x is 2 sine x cosine x. So, nag-1 half pa lang. So, you will put or you will substitute this double angle formula sa trigonometric identities. Okay, so let's try to solve problems under this case 2. So, hindi lang theta lang ginamit, hindi naman x. So, theta ginamit. So, mangyayari dito, pareha silang even. So, ang gagawin mo palaging squared. So, you will separate yung sine squared, okay, or cosine squared. Palagi nung palalabas yung pagse-separate mo siya. So, ito magiging yung sine to the fourth, magiging sine squared, and then another sine squared. Then, substitute this trigonometric identity. So, ano lalabas? Okay. So, ang ginawa dito, ito, pinagsama itong dalawa, yung sine squared theta, cosine squared theta, naging quantity sine theta, cosine theta squared. So, ngayon ito, substitute mo doon. Tapos itong sine, ito yun. So, pag sinubstitute mo yan, this will become, yung sine squared theta is 1 minus cosine 2 theta over 2. Then itong sine theta, cosine theta is 1 half sine 2x or 1 half sine 2 theta squared. Kaya ito equivalent nun, 1 half sine 2 theta. 350. Ano ba?
May paano ko dito kaya lang.
1,000. Ito, 1,000. Hindi, 1,000 sila dito. Okay. Ay, sorry. Sorry na. Okay. Then here, ang mangyayari, okay, so ito 1 half raised to 2, magiging 1 over 4 yun, di ba? Then times 2, magiging 1 over 8. Then this one, magiging sine squared 2 theta, multiply dito, magiging sine squared 2 theta. Tapos ito naman, sine squared 2 theta times cosine 2 theta, magiging sine squared 2 theta, cosine 2 theta, minus d theta, then d theta. Then you will let here, ang mangyayari, the integral ng sine squared 2 theta, d theta, ililipat muli yun doon sa, yung sine squared 2 theta is ito yon. Magiging ano naman yun, magiging, kung 2 theta to, kung x is 2 theta, magiging 2 times 2 theta or 4 theta. Kaya ito yon nangyari. So yung sine squared 2 theta from the double angle formula is 1 minus cosine 4 theta yon over 2. Okay. Then ito, pwede nang hindi i-convert. Kasi you will use u here equals sine 2 theta, then the derivative is cosine 2 theta d theta. So this will become power formula by substitution. Kaya mangyayari dito, this will become the integral of 1 over 8 to 1 half d theta. Then minus the integral of 1 half times 1/8, siyempre, cosine 4 theta d theta. Okay. Then minus the integral of 1/8 sine squared 2 theta cosine 2 theta. So pag pinag-separate natin yan, so gamit lang muna tayo kasi hindi pala naipakita doon sa ano eh. So ito ang mangyayari, this will become 1 over, magiging 1 over 16 na yun eh. Magiging 1 over 16 integral of d theta na lang. Teka, titingnan ko lang yung sagot. Baka hindi naman sineperate yung 1 over 8. Hindi na pala sineperate yung 1/8. So here, this will become 1/8 quantity integral of, pag ito, 1/2 ito, magiging d theta over 2. Then minus the integral of cosine 4 theta d theta over 2. Then tsaka minus ito, the integral sine squared 2 theta cosine 2 theta d theta. So ito yun. Okay. Kaya mangyayari dyan, pagka inano mo yun, this will become integral, pag in-integrate mo yun, this is 1/8 quantity theta over 2. Then the integral ng cosine u du is positive sine u. Di ba no? Kaya lang yung u mo dito is 4, so magkakaroon ng 1/4 doon. Kaya may 1/2 pa doon, magiging 1/8 sine 4 theta. Then minus, your u here is sine 2 theta. Your du is positive cosine 2 theta times 2 d theta. Kaya magkakaroon dito ng 1/2 sine cube 2 theta over 3. So, yun ang magiging yan. So, ang lilitaw dito, I hope I'm correct. So, this is theta over 16. Then minus 1/64 to, 1/64 sine 4 theta. Then minus 6 times 48, 6 times 8 is 48. 1/48. Sana tama ako. Sine cube 2 theta. Obviously may plus C. Nag-integrate. Oops, wala na plus C. Ito may plus C. I hope that is correct. So let's check. So yun yung solution niya. Ngayon. Ayun. Ayun. Oh, I hope tama tayo. Oops. Aba, nadali, no? So, tama, no? So, cube theta. Ayun. So, tama yung computation natin. So, doon ang galing yun. Kaya lang medyo na shortcut lang yan. Okay? So, yun ang gagawin. Basta, palagi siyang magiging, pag merong naging square, i-convert mo palagi sa double angle. Sa identity ng double angle. Kailangan maging siya. And then, yung sum of the will become power formula. But yung iba, pa rin. So, ganun yung pag-integral ng sine squared. I don't know kung may problem yata tayo no, yung mag-integral ng sine squared sa I think meron tayong problem ng ito, yung mag-integrate ng sine squared sa trigonometric function. Meron ba tayo nun? Parang meron. I think meron yata. O wala. Wala yatang problem na sine squared. Yung integrate mo yung sine squared, so yung simpleng integration ng sine squared, i-convert mo yun using double angle. Hindi mo siya masosolve without So parang ganito lang din, kung yung sine squared x naman, kung sa under case 3, pag 0 yung n, so magiging sine na lang yun, magiging sine, let's say sine squared. So i-convert mo siya dito para mo siya masolve. Okay. So hindi mo masosolve yung integral ng sine squared kung hindi ka gagamit ng double angle formula. Okay, wala kasi tayong formula doon sa sine squared. Ayan, wala naman tayong formula sa trigonometric function. So ang meron lang tayo ay yung secant squared tsaka yung cosecant squared. secant squared tsaka cosecant squared, tama. So, yun ang merong integral. Pero yung sine squared, wala. So, ganito rin ang procedure nun. Yung n kasi integer, zero, yung zero kasi positive, positive, sorry, even integer din yun yung zero. So, kaya applicable din yan. O kaya yung cosine squared naman, zero naman itong m. So, ganito rin ang magiging solution yun. So, you will convert that into, or using trigonometric identity, yung double angle formula. Okay. So, example C, meron pa ba dito? Example, wala na. Oops. Okay. So, namali ako ng ano, hindi ko na, ano yan. So, here, case 3 naman, integral ng tangent to the nx dx or integral of cotangent to the nx dx, where n is an integer. It could be any integer, yung n, any integer daw. So, for example, integral ng tangent to the fourth x. Okay. So, isa-separate mo rin yung tangent squared, yung tangent to the fourth x into tangent squared, then tangent squared. Then pagkatapos, i-convert mo to. Substitute mo yung isang tangent squared. This is shortcut na rito. Yung tangent squared is secant squared x minus 1. Then, minultiply sa tangent squared. Kaya magiging tangent squared x, tapos ito yung isa, so cosine squared x, tapos negative 1, so tangent squared x. Okay. Then from here, convert tangent squared ulit. Yung tangent squared, yung isang tangent squared, i-convert mo sa secant squared x minus 1. So, yung lalabas. Hanggang matira na lang ay eto. Mawala yung tangent squared. Kasi yung tangent squared, wala naman tayong integral nun eh. Okay. So, kaya i-convert. Pero ang meron yung secant squared x. Kaya pagka inano mo yan, so this will become tangent squared x, secant squared x minus secant squared x minus minus plus 1. So, therefore, here, again, from the integral of secant squared, meron na, no? Yung secant squared, tangent x na yan. Okay na to. Yung 1, constant. Okay na. Ito na lang. If you will use u is equal to tangent x, your du is secant squared x dx. Kaya ito magiging u squared du. Kaya ito magiging du na lang. Tapos ito dx. So pag in-integrate mo yan, this will become u squared o u, excuse me, u cube over 3. Then this one is tangent. Tapos ito, that is x. And that is the final answer. Okay. So, ganun. So, actually, I have, siguro 10 years ago, I already developed a formula for a tangent raised to the m or raised to the n. Then, dire-diretso lang yon. Okay. Pag naging tangent to the fifth yan, I think wala itong x. So, meron ng standard formula for integral ng tangent to the n. Parang magiging ano yun magiging this will become tangent to the m minus 1 over n minus 1 to the n minus 1 and minus tangent x. Tas nagbabago na lang yung dalawa. It's either wala ito or ito yung dulo o kaya ito. Depende pagka even number may x, pagka odd number wala. So meron na kasi nga yan, simplified formula. Kahit ako nagawa ko na rin yung formula na yun. Kasi ganito lang din ang lalabas diyan, ganyan ang mangyayari. I-convert mo lang palagi yung tangent squared into secant squared x minus 1. Or similarly with cotangent, ganito magiging equivalent nun. Hanggang mangyari yung gantong format. Definitely, ang susunod dito, kung x to the fifth yan, magiging tangent. Anyway, so ganun ang, ano yan. I think I will show you na lang later yung derived formula na para sa tangent to the n, x dx. Pero ito yung procedure lagi nun. Kumbaga parang ang derivative kasi ng tangent is secant squared x. So kailangan yung tangent mo, regardless kung ano ang power niya, meron siyang katabi na or meron siyang kasama na secant squared x dx. Para you will substitute u equals tangent x, then yung secant squared x dx, magiging du yun. it will resolve to power formula only. Okay. And then, pag may tangent squared na lumabas, i-convert mo lang ulit sa second squared at minus 1 hanggang lumabas yung second squared tsaka yung constant. Ganun ang mangyayari doon. Okay, so yun ang form, ito yung procedure dito sa case 3. Okay. Then for cotangent, ito nangyari, pagka naman ano naman siya, cotangent naman, tapos add integer, magiging separate mo yung isa, cotangent cube x, then cosine squared x. Basta palilitawin mo tong isang yung cotangent squared. So, separate mo yan. This will become cos second squared minus 1. Okay. Then, pagkatapos nun, i-distribute mo dito. So, ito yon. Then, minus cotangent cube. Then, separate mo yung cotangent squared. Ito siya. Cotangent x, cotangent squared. Then, convert again cotangent squared into cosecant squared x minus 1. Okay. Pag then distribute ulit. Pag wala nang cotangent squared, so hinto ka na doon. Kasi meron ng integral yung cotangent na eh. Okay. Hanggat merong cotangent squared na lumalabas, hanggang raised to squared siya, i-convert mo pa rin siya. Kasi walang integral yung cotangent squared. Similarly with tangent squared. So dito, may integral na tayo ng cotangent. So i-stop ka na dyan. So ito na lang yung integrate mo. Where integral of cotangent cube x cosine squared x dx minus the integral of cotangent x cosecant squared x dx plus the integral of cotangent x dx. So dito ang u mo is cotangent. Ang derivative ng u mo or du is equal to negative cosecant squared x dx. So since paala namang negative doon, so this will become positive. Or sorry, magiging negative u cube negative u cube negative du. Ano, negative du or u to the fourth, negative u to the fourth over 4. Tapos ito naman, ito, your u again is cotangent, then the derivative is negative cosecant squared x dx. Kaya mangyayari, this will become u, du na lang, u du. Okay, so magiging u squared over 2 na lang, positive. Kaya naging cotangent squared x over 2. Tapos yung integral ng cotangent x, may formula na tayo nun. Ayun, yung cotangent u du is ln of sin u. Kaya lumabas doon sa ano na yun, is ln sin x naman siya. Okay? So, yun siya, ganun. Already, meron na rin standard formula para dyan. Okay, so dito sa. Then, another, pagka naman nagkasama naman yung tangent secant, tsaka yung cotangent cosecant. Case 4, ano? Case 4. When n is a positive even integer. So, yung isa, pagka positive even integer yung n, obviously, mas madali yan kasi pag positive integer to, yung n, okay, the derivative, your u is equal to, for example, squared dito, squared, magiging power formula na lang kasi your u is tangent, then the derivative is secant squared x dx. Diba, no? So, power formula. Kaya lang pagka hindi siya 2, let's say to the fourth, okay, to the fourth, or mas mataas pa, to the 6, you will apply trigonometric substitution using trigonometric identity. So, ito yan. So, katulad dito, tangent squared x secant to the fourth x dx. So, itong secant to the fourth, ihatiin mo sa dalawang secant squared x. Kaya ang mangyayari, ito siya, tangent squared x, secant squared x, secant squared x dx. Tapos yung isang secant, yung isa, i-convert mo sa 1 plus tangent squared x. Okay, ito yun, yung secant squared. Then distribute. So mangyayari dito, this will become tangent squared x, secant squared x dx. Then ito, itong isa maging tangent to the fourth x secant squared x dx. So ang u mo dito, tangent, then derivative mo du is secant squared x dx. Then this will resolve to the integral of u squared du. Then plus integral of u to the fourth du or u cube over 3 tsaka ito u to the fifth over 5. Or substitute mo lang yung u equals tangent, tangent cube x over 3 plus tangent to the fifth x over 5 plus a constant. So ito yan, ganito yan. Ito once na naging square na to, square, okay na. Ayun na kagad yung kanyang derivative. Your u is tangent and derivative is secant squared x dx. Pagka lang mas mataas pa doon, let's say 4, 6, 8, ganito gagawin. Okay. So, I think na ano ko na rin yan, nagawan ko na rin ng general formula yan. Okay. General solution. Dalawa rin yung sagot niyan, kung even ito, tsaka add. Okay. Sample G, ito siya. Ito, add naman siya. Then ito. Okay. Ayan. So here, hinati yung cosecant squared x sa dalawang cosecant squared x. Then yung isang cosecant squared, kinonvert sa 1 plus cotangent squared x. Then dinistribute yun. So this will become ayan. So naging cotangent to the fifth x cosecant squared x dx. Then plus ito magiging 7 cotangent to the 7x cosecant squared x dx. So I think ito na yung kanyang derivative, yung u is equal to cotangent, then du is equal to negative cosecant squared x. Kaya mangyayari, this will become negative integral u to the fifth du. Ito negative u to the 7 du. Kaya mangyayari, u to the fifth is negative u to the 6 over 6 or cotangent squared x over 6. Ito maging u to the 8, negative u to the 8 over 8 or cotangent to the 8 x over 8 plus c, and that's the final answer. So, wala na yata. Okay. So, yun yung apat na cases. Case 1, so ito n, ano? So, yung sine m tsaka cosine x, okay? So, pagka yung m ang positive and then yung n naman ng dito ang positive anti-integer, ito yung solution, ano? Then yung isa, pagka naman pare silang positive, so dito you will use Pythagorean theorem, ano? You will substitute you will use sine squared x plus cosine squared x equals 1. Pagka isa sa kanila ay add. Pagka parehas na even, wala kang choice. Kailangan mong mag-substitute ng double angle formula. Ulitin ko, pagka isa lang sa kanila or parehas sila na add ang power, you will use yung Pythagorean theorem, yung sine squared theta or sine squared x plus cosine squared x equals 1. So you will convert each either sine or cosine. Then dito naman, pagka parehas silang even, positive even integer, wala kang choice kundi gumamit ka ng double angle formula. Okay. So pagka naman tangent, and then where n is sa tangent, i-convert mo yung tangent sa secant squared x minus 1 para lumabas yung derivative ng tangent, which is secant squared. Similarly, yung cotangent squared, i-convert mo sa cosecant squared x minus 1 dahil the derivative of cotangent is cosecant squared x. Okay. So, ayan. Yan yung pinakahuli. Yung case 4, pag magkasama yung tangent tsaka yung secant, or cotangent tsaka cosecant, okay, where yung n is a positive even integer, so you will convert ito using Pythagorean theorem mali. Secant squared x is equal to 1 plus tangent squared x, saka yung cosecant squared x is equal to 1 plus cotangent squared x. Okay. Ang purpose lang naman nito ay palabasin doon yung kanyang derivative, which is yung tangent, ang derivative niya is secant squared. Yung cotangent naman, derivative niya is cosecant squared. Para by using substitution, magiging power formula na lang yung trigonometric function na yan. Okay? So, yun ang purpose na. Okay. So, any question? Any question? Sa Medyo malabo ba? Malinaw? Okay lang? So ito, ano to? N ito N. This one is N. Papalitan ko na lang later. Okay, so let's try to solve another problem sa transformation. Okay, so para naman, yan, katulad niyan, sine cube. So this will fall under case 1. Kuha lang ako ng formula natin sa case 1 para madali kong i-recall. Okay. Why case 1 yan? Sabi nga sa inyo, pwede naman mag-zero yung n. Ang ano lang naman dito, kahit alin lang dyan ay kahit alin dyan ay ang add integer, positive add integer. Pwedeng mag-zero yung isa. Kaya sa sine cube, ang gagawin mo dyan, i-separate mo yung isang sine. Palaging merong matitirang isa. Kasi yun ang derivative ng cosine, di ba? O ganun din sa cosine, yun naman ang derivative ng sine. So kailangan may matirang isang sine. Then convert yung sine squared na natira, convert using sine squared x is equal to 1 minus cosine squared x. Then, distribute. So, mag-integral ng sine x dx minus cosine squared x sine x dx. Wherein, ito may formula na tayo rito. The integral ng sine is negative cosine x. Ito namang cosine squared x sine x dx, use u equals cosine x. Then du is negative sine x. So, dx. Kaya meron na rito negative sin x dx. Ang mangyayari dito, this will become u square du. Kaya u cube over 3. Magiging positive na siya. Ito, negative cosine ng integral nun. Okay? So, ito lalabas nun. Similarly, with the integral of cosine cube x dx, case 1 pa rin yan. So, wala lang, nag-zero naman yung m, ito n ang may value, ang positive. Ito, ihatiin mo lang ito sa isang cosine x saka cosine squared. Yan. Then, 1 minus sine squared x, yung cosine squared x. Then, pag dinistribute, the integral ng cosine is sine, positive. Your u is sine x. Magiging, the derivative is cosine x dx, or this will become u square du, or u cube over 3. May negative doon. Integral ng cosine, positive sine x. So, ito ngayon ang sagot. Okay. The next one, the integral of y cube, y sine cube y dy. So, case 1 yan. Kaya lang you have two solutions. Is either piliin mo, pag-iwalayin yung sine o kaya naman yung cosine. So, dito isang solution, ang ginamit niya yung sine. Sineparate niya yung isang sine. Then, convert yung sine squared y into 1 minus cosine squared y. Then, distribute. So, this will become cosine cube y sine y dy. Then, minus cosine to the fifth y sine y dy. Ito yan. O yan. Kaya pwede mo na integrate. Your u is equal to cosine y. The derivative is negative sine y dy. So, kaya magiging negative integral of u to the u cube du. Magiging negative u to the fourth. So, dapat ito negative. May negative dito. I think this one is negative cosine. Kasi your u is equal to cosine, du is equal to negative, negative sine y dy. Kaya dapat negative ito. Negative. May, correction, Negative yan. Ang typographical error lang, hindi lang masyadong okay. So, para lang matandaan ko. Okay, so this will become negative cosine to the fourth y. Tapos ito, your u, dapat ito plus. Your u is equal to cosine y, your d is negative sine y dy, di ba? So magiging, may negative doon, magiging u, positive u to the fifth du. Kaya positive, so mali pala yan. Dapat ito positive. Ayan. So at least matatandaan ko na siya. Then another solution, instead of separate mo yung y cube, yung sine cube, yung cosine naman. So, yung cosine naging cosine squared y tsaka cosine y. Tapos, kinonvert ito sa 1 minus sine squared y, then dinistribute. So, this will become sine cube y cosine y dy. Then ito, sine to the fifth y negative, then cosine y dy. So, here, your u is equal to sine cube y, sine y, then derivative is positive cosine y dy. So, magiging u cube du yun. Kaya magiging u to the fourth over 4 or sine to the fourth y over 4. Ito naman, similarly, this will become negative u to the fifth du or negative u to the 6 over 6 or negative sine to the 6y to the 6y over 6 plus c. Okay? So, baliktad dito na minus. Pag ginamit mo yung identity, mag-i-equal sila. Yung C na yan, hindi parehas yung C na yan. Magkaiba yung C dito at saka yung C doon. Okay. Okay. Then sumunod. There's another solution kasi ito, this will fall and there is a parehas sila na pwede kang gumamit ng double angle formula. Okay? So tatlong klaseng solution pala to. Yung integral ng cosine cube y sine cube y is the same as integral ng quantity cosine y sine y cube dy. So mangyayari, pwede mong gawin, i-convert mo yung dito using double angle formula, 1/2 sine 2y yun. So double angle. Then magiging integral ng sine cube 2y dy. So para magiging ganito, sine cube. Ayan. Then proceed with the solution. Yung isang sine 2y, i-separate mo. Then ito convert mo sa 1 minus cosine squared 2y. Then magiging integral ng sine 2y dy minus 1 over 8 integral of cosine squared 2y sine 2y dy. Your u, this one is negative 1/2 cosine 2y. Ito naman, power formula, this will become positive u cube over 3 tapos over 2 kasi may 2y. So, ito lalabas. So, this is also another solution for this particular problem. Kaya lang medyo gumamit dito ng double angle formula. So, tatlo ang solution dito sa problem na yan. Next one. Ito. Medyo papahirap yung solution. So, ito siya. Yung number 4 ba tayo? Ano pala? Number 5. Case 1 pa rin yan. So, puro case 1. Okay? So, ang gagawin mo dito, since ito yung add integer, i-separate mo yung isa. So, this will become integral of cosine squared 2 theta. Itong sine cube magiging sine squared 2 theta, sine 2 theta. Then, convert sine squared 2 theta into 1 minus cosine squared 2 theta. Then distribute. So this will become cosine squared 2 theta sine 2 theta d theta. Ito yun. Then minus cosine cube. Squared pala ito. Another square. So to the fourth 2 theta. Then sine 2 theta d theta. Then from here, your u is equal to cosine 2 theta. Then du is negative sine 2 theta d theta over 2 times 2. Okay. Your u is cosine 2 theta. Your du is equal to negative sine 2 theta. Derivative nito is 2 d theta. Kaya this will become negative du over 2 yung sine 2 theta d theta. Okay. Kaya ito, this will become u squared then negative du over 2. Okay. So kaya ito magiging equals the integral of u squared, then negative du over 2. Then ito naman, this will become u to the fourth. Tapos yung sine 2u is negative. May negative doon, magiging positive, ano? So, magiging plus the integral ng u to the fourth du over 2. Okay. Tama, no? Kasi negative yun, so magiging positive. Itong ano na yun ay, ito na siya. Kaya magiging negative u cube over 6. Ito yun. So, negative u cube over 2, tas over 3 pa. Kaya, ito yun. Tas, so yun, minus. Ito naman, plus u to the fifth over 5. Kaya may 5 tsaka may 2. So, or cosine to the fifth, 2 theta. Then, simplify, negative cosine cube 2 theta over 6 plus cosine to the fifth 2 theta over 10 plus c. Okay? So, yun yung ano na yun. So, ito yung solution. Kaya naging ganun. So, marami pa dito. Marami pang problem dito. I think, ibibigay ko na lang din uli sa inyo to. Okay? So, bibigay ko yung mga problems na to. Paki-check na lang kung meron lang konting, i-check ko muna, ipo-pre-print ko muna. Baka meron pang mga typographical error, i-adjust ko. Okay. Hindi pa kasi nababasa. Ngayon ko lang binasa, ngayon ko lang uli nakita yung lecture na to. So, marami pa dyan. So, ano dyan yung mga solutions kung paano siya itatransform, okay, using trigonometric formulas. Yan. So, ayun. Nandito yung mga solution. Then, ipag-aralan nyo na lang. Okay? Pag-aralan nyo. Maraming ano. Medyo mahirap, mahaba rin kasi yung solution. Kaya, ano ko na lang sa inyo. At least, alam nyo na yung procedure. Ito yung sine squared pala, no? Ito pala yung sine squared kanina, tsaka yung cosine. Yung sinasabi ko, you will use double angle formula. Yan. So, double angle. Kasi hindi mo siya masusol. Similarly with cosine. So, you will use double angle. Then, ito kung parehas din ng ano, double angle pa rin yan. Okay. So, I hope, ito yung parehas na mga bayan. Andiyan yung mga solution. Okay. So, then cosine to the 7. So, maraming problem dito na pwede nyo na lang pag-aralan. Please, pakibasa. And then, pakiintindi. Although, mas detalyado yung lecture natin, pero I think medyo detalyado na rin naman yung ano rito. Hindi na lang nag-substitute dito para katulad nito yung iba hindi na. Katulad ito, diretso na na integration. Pero ito, nag-substitute pa eh. Pinakita lang kung ano yung gagamitin. But there is only one substitution palagi dyan. Isa lang yung gagamitin na U tsaka ng DU. Isa lang din yan. Then, you can proceed with the integration. So, maraming problem yan. So, bibigay ko na lang sa inyo. Okay, so i-adjust ko lang. Babasahin ko lang na isa para ma-check ko kung meron. Ito, ibang klase. Oh. So, may double angle doon. Okay, so naiba yung kanilang ito kinonvert ito sa, I think kinonvert yan sa yung using double angle formula, kaya naging single na lang yung angle parehas. Yung 1/2. Yung sine to, okay, so itong sine 2 theta is equal to 2 sine 2 theta or 2x, sine 2x is equal to 2 sine x cosine x. Ayan. Raised to 3 kaya nagkaroon ng 8 dun eh. Tapos naging Sine cube x saka cosine cube x kasi kaya naging cosine to the fifth x saka sine cube x yan. Okay, so ganun pa rin ang procedure.